You know, the last time that he'd been in the boat with me, he was like a different person. He knew that something was gonna happen to him. He wasn't gleeful like we normally be. Scratched his head a few times, like he's trying to remember something, then write it very fast. He was like he was in a space, like in a dream, like he was looking far into the future. Like there's something unfinished that he was thinking about. You see, if any of you all around when I have to meet my date, I don't want a long funeral. If you get somebody to deliver the eulogy, tell him not to talk too long. He told me, I'd like somebody to be able to mention that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to give his life serving others. Come here, I want to show you something. We got the world record bonefish in 1971. This fella here was a tremendous bonefish guide also. And we couldn't get him out of the picture. See how he looked like he wanted to cry? He's a bishop, and he looked like he wanted to cry, you know? Because we beat his world record that held for 18 years. And that still stands today. My name is Ansil Saunders. I was born here in Bimini 88 years ago and lived here all my life, either building boat or bone fishing. Growing up in Bimini as a child, we didn't have the playground to play on. We didn't have the opportunity to go to high schools and colleges. One thing Bimini afforded for us, we could eat just by going and picking up the most richest foods that was all over the flats, like the conchs and lobster. Expensive food. We got it for nothing. There was a real bonefish guide called Bonefish Sam, and he brought up the stalking way of catching a bonefish. I used to go with Bonefish Sam, and it was so much fun to try to outdo a bonefish by fooling him that the bait is free. Pound for pound. But bonefish is the strongest fish in the sea. I wanted to become a guide because once you get into fly fishing, the other kind of fishing is just not good enough anymore. It's so calm and peaceful out there. You got the whole world for yourself. It's so satisfying. The conversations I could get from the people that I took, doctors and lawyers, almost all of them are educated. Fishing became like a college to me. I always had equality in my being. When I was 21, I decided that I would go to the big game club and eat lunch. No blacks could have eaten there, neither any other hotels here. But I sat in the big game fishing club for 41 days, lunchtime from 12 to 1, without being served, every day. I paid the price of being embarrassed with the lonesomeness with even your own people, the waiters and waitresses, saying things to you to get out of there. And then I was certain, and go back fishing on an empty stomach because I was trying to get that broken. Martin Luther King, he was marched at the same time. And I used to watch him on the news, and if they can go through that and get locked up and stuff like that in jail, you know, and getting the head beats in, I said to myself, at least I don't get arrested, you know. I'm gonna fight this with Dr. King. As long as they don't hurt me, I'm gonna keep coming. One time, the owner of the big game fishing club was having some big officials come from Nassau. So I told some of the boys from around here that if they go with me tonight, I'll buy them all dinner. We went in there and I said, we either get serving here tonight or else. I was willing to go to jail. And they fed us like we was the King of England. From that day forward, we was able to eat in there anytime we felt like. But to make them change their policy made me feel like a giant. Ooh, fraud claims. PLP seeks answers over accusation in writ. That is very interesting. I always had an interest in politics. I was the chairman of the Progressive Liberal Party for about 14 years. My goal was to try to level or even the playing field. In the Bahamas, the blacks were second class. We were short-change of education especially. As the PLP chairman, I had to educate the people and get them ready for independence. I take great pride in that even in this playing field so that we can all eat together right in this big game fishing club. Over the years, there have been a lot of changes in the newspaper, but one thing that hasn't changed is the impact that Dr. King had on this island. The first time I met Dr. King, it was down in the street in front of the Fisherman Paradise restaurant. Came here to write his Nobel Prize acceptance speech. He said he wanted someplace real tranquil, and he heard about this Bimini. It's so peaceful and nice down here.
What he really liked to do is to go into the swamps in the quietness of the island to meditate. But in the daytime, he'd walk around the island meeting people.
He was very down to earth, so easy to talk to. A lot of jokes that he would say that you wouldn't think he would say, you know. He used to stand up in the road sometimes, and he'd like to sing. I had Dr. King in the boat in the house, some real quiet place to think. He would just put his hand on his chin, and you could see he's writing something in his head. When you spend time in a boat out in that mangrove, that really becomes a friend. Becomes a friend. He really was one of a kind. He told me, when you are in a race and you fall behind, even you must forever remain behind or run faster than the man in front.
Yes, we're on the move and no wave of racism can stop us.
When I heard he died, I was eating supper. And I couldn't eat no more that day. I don't think I eaten days. You didn't quite accept it, like it wasn't true, you know? He used to say, never lose hope. You can't lose hope. If you lose hope, you finish.
We will not be satisfied until justice rolls down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream.
In the days when Dr. King was there, this was a colonial country. And it's true, we had nobody to identify with in this country, except Dr. Martin Luther King. He was very important for us in achieving independence.
We didn't have the understanding to do it until Dr. King opened our eyes. We think bigger by listening to him.
Had he not come to Bimini or to the Bahamas at that time in history, our independence would have been delayed for a long time. Bimini owes a lot to Dr. Martin Luther King.
You know, the last time that Dr. King been in the boat with me, I took him up to the Bonefish Creek. We need to get on the far flats in that time of morning. That's when those bonefish really come in to feed. And when we reached a mangrove, some birds was overhead, the tide trickling by, snappers running under the mangrove roots. Stingray was burying and reburying. King was here 4 days before he would be killed. His face is getting faded now. I got to put another coat of bronze paint on that. And this is where I had Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., where I brought him to write. This platform was not here at the time. And we sat in the bow of the boat, and he said to me, "It's so much life here, so much life all around us." He said, "How could people see all this life and yet not believe in the existence of God?" He said, "Ansil, what you do when you have people in the boat that see all this life and not believe in God, what you say to them?" So I said, I wrote a psalm that poses some serious questions, and I leave him to ponder those questions. He said he'd like to hear it. I said, "Dr. King, people want to hear you speak. You know that, you're the spokesman." He said, "I'm tired of this to myself. I won't hear somebody else sometimes." And the psalm goes, "Just look around you and see God in everything." His name of love is written on every tiny raindrop. His name of wonder crowns the mountain peak, swirls across the seas. Who else could stretch rivers like silver ribbons across the continents, or fill the darkest recess of the oceans with life? Only God could create the morning sunrise that bursts the horizon in a blaze of glory. Some mornings that gray and gold sunrise is so beautiful that one cannot tell where the heaven ends or the earth begins. Only God could create a moon which represents equality because it equalizes the waters of the earth. Only God can pierce the skies with stars, stars that has the beauty of a blue sapphire, but sparkles with the radiance of a flawless diamond. Every living thing reaches for God, the smallest green grass, the tallest redwood. Look around you and touch your brother, kiss your sister, and then behold the wonderful works of God. Boats, psalms, and computers were made by fools like me, but only God can blossom a cherry tree. Only God can give life to you and me. Amen. When I got through that psalm, Dr. King, with tears running down his cheeks, he looked up towards the heavens with an audacious power. But he said, "I believe now more than ever in the existence of God." He sat down and he wrote some notes, and he said it the night before he died. "If any all around when I have to meet my day,
I don't want a long. Tell them not to mention that I have a Nobel Peace Prize. That isn't important. I'd like somebody to mention that day that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to give his life serving others so that we can make of this old world a new world.